doesn't come to the ring. Of course, we know that there's such a thing as step-aside money, and that could happen too. So a lot of different things can happen in the light heavyweight division.
Certainly, but we want the right thing happening, and that's fighters fighting for the championship, fighters doing what they're supposed to do and winning it in the ring. And Chad Dawson need to do the right thing. First, he need to give me a rematch because he know he didn't win that fight. And the next thing, he need to fight the winner of the night. And if he don't fight the winner of the night, then he could give me an opportunity to step in and fight the winner of the night fight.
All right, thanks a lot for dropping by. We appreciate a lot of continued success. I'm a big fan of yours, and keep it going. I don't know how much longer you can fight, but keep going, will you?
I thank you, and I'm going to go as long as my body will allow me to.
All right. The words of Glenn Coffee Johnson, who was a former world champion, who many think should be holding the WBC belt right now. Here comes Chris Henry making his way all the way from Houston, Texas in the United States of America. Chris Henry comes in here, relatively unknown guy, 21-0 with 17 knockouts. Very impressive record. In his early career, he had 14 first and second round knockouts, so he's got plenty of power. This is a 12-round championship fight. He's only been 8 rounds one time in his career and 10 rounds twice in his career. But he had a lot of an amateur background, 90 amateur fights, a lot of local and national titles. He's a good boxer that fights right up on his feet. He's got a fine jab. He's got a powerful right hand. And he'll try to set up Diaconu and find a blind spot and bury him with a right hand. That's what he told me was his fight plan. Now, whether he can execute that or not is a big question. He had 5 fights in 2007, his last one against Derek James, where he knocked him out in the 6th round. And here's the announcement for ADRIAN DIACONU. And of course, it's going to be a very partisan crowd from President Petescu to every fan that's here to see Diaconu, who is fighting for his 2nd time in 2007. He fought once in 2007, I should say, and that was against Rico Hoy, pretty good fighter who he stopped last May in Montreal, Canada, on a 3rd round TKO, and that was a WBC elimination fight. So ADRIAN DIACONU makes his way in, undefeated at 24-0. 15 knockouts, holds the WBC International Light Heavyweight title. The book on him, good power, strong amateur background, represented Romania in the 2000 Sydney Olympics. He's a very aggressive boxer. Fought most of his professional fights in Canada, fought a couple of times in Massachusetts in the United States, once in Germany, and this is his 3rd fight in Romania. It's been 11 months since his last fight. I mentioned about the Rico Hoy fight, which is his last time out. And remember, this became an interim championship fight because he was the #1 contender, but he had an injury to his right hand when he was supposed to fight Chad Dawson in Sacramento, California last September. And so as to keep the action going in the light heavyweight division, until Diaconu's hand was solid, they allowed Chad Dawson to go ahead and fight Glenn Johnson, who we just had a conversation with. And now we're just about set for our national anthem as we take a look at the tail of the tape. And you'll see that Diaconu is going to be a little bit shorter than Chris Henry. He's going to be just a hair heavier than Chris Henry. He's 2 years older, and he's giving away a couple of inches in reach to Chris Henry. So most things favor Chris Henry on the tail of the tape. Age, height, and reach. Here's the scoring of the WBC. 10-point must scoring system, no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Only the referee can stop the fight. We'll have open scoring in this fight. One other thing that you should know in the accidental foul rule, a little bit different in the WBC. Should a man get cut by an accidental headbutt, the man who doesn't get cut loses a point. If that becomes pertinent at any time up until the 4th round, I'll point that out to you. And also, in the unified rules of boxing, you go to the scorecards after the 4th round. In the WBC, you must start the 5th round before the fight becomes official, and you go to the scorecards. If any of those factors become pertinent during the course of this fight, I'll point it out to you at that time. So the stage is just about set for the WBC Interim Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. And it's more than a prize fight here at the Sala Politivata here in Bucharest, Romania. Polivalenta, by the way, just kind of means an auditorium in the language. They have all kinds of sporting events here. Boxing, ice hockey. Seats about 5,000 for boxing, and they've got that sold out. President of the country, the Prime Minister, Vidano is here. Vidano is actually the mayor of Bucharest. He's in attendance. And Tericiano, who is the Prime Minister, I'm told is also here or on his way. But for security reasons, they told us President Pachesco was coming, then he wasn't coming, and now we see that he is here. So it's a pretty big event here in Romania. Following the playing of this entertaining amusement for the crowd on Romanian television and the crowd in attendance here, we'll have the national anthems, and we'll have this WBC Interim Lightweight Championship fight underway. It's a fiesta in Bucharest. There's the government building that was built under the reign of Ceausescu, second largest building in the world. It houses all the government offices of Romania, and that only fills about a third of the offices in that building. That's how big it is. Largest building in the world, believe it or not, is in the United States, the Pentagon. All right, now it's back to boxing following the national anthems, and we're ready to get going.
Ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the ring, the #1 WBC contender from Romania. Please welcome ADRIAN "The Shark" Diaconu.
Chris Henry has been in the ring about 5 minutes already, and Diaconu is making his way in, and then with the anthems that'll have to be played of 3 countries, it's going to be a long wait for Chris Henry to get going. It'll be long enough for Diaconu himself. This is ADRIAN Diaconu, #1 ranked in the WBC. By the way, he's ranked number 10 by Ring Magazine. But he's one of the best light heavyweights in the world. The WBA champ, Bernard Hopkins, and Joe Calzaghe do battle a little bit later on this evening in Las Vegas, Nevada. Antonio Tava won the IBF to go along with his IBO belt last week, as did Chad Dawson defend his title again against Glenn Johnson for the WBC. And this is Chris Henry, who warmed up thoroughly in his locker room, and he's been hanging around now close to 7 or 8 minutes. And it'll probably be about 12 to 15 minutes from the time he made his entrance to the time he begins the fight. Now that's something that a professional fighter has got to handle mentally when you come to a foreign country and you're fighting in the foreign fighter's hometown. In spite of the fact that Diaconu lives and trains in Montreal, he was born in Romania, and he's the hero here in Romania. Chris Henry doesn't care anything about that. He's come here to lift this title.
Now we have the singing of the national anthems. Please rise.
Imnul României este interpretat de Nico și la mirință cei care ne vor reprezenta la Euro 2008.